Welcome to the Awakening Women podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, and for almost a decade, I have been a transformation coach and therapist. This podcast is all about lifting the veil of consciousness and awakening to the truth. It is also about helping you to raise the bar in all areas of your life and relationships by starting with you. If you're ready to take back your personal power and reclaim your life, you have come to the right place. I'm so glad that you're here, so let's get started with today's episode. One thing that definitely happens when you're experiencing a narcissistic partner, like a truly narcissistic partner that engages in cycles of gaslighting, stonewalling, control, cheating, lying, mindfuckery, you literally feel like you're going crazy on a perpetual cycle. So when we're talking about narcissistic abuse, we're talking about you feel like you're going crazy. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. You feel like you're losing your damn mind in a relationship, and it seems to only be connected to this one particular person. Anyways, that's it in a nutshell. I always feel like I have to explain that just a wee bit more because I kind of hate how it's kind of nauseating how it is all over the internet like a buzzword. Like everything is narcissistic abuse. What also annoys me is that certain things that are deemed as like narcissistic that maybe aren't, or that the idea that all forms of narcissism means abuse. It doesn't. We can all have narcissistic traits. We all have narcissism within us. And I always point women and everyone toward the book Rethinking Narcissism by Dr. Craig Malkin, because he is the only person I've ever come across that talks about this from a psychological perspective, that there is a spectrum, that we need some narcissism, right? So we can all be selfish. We can all be self-centered. We can all be just thinking about ourselves, but we should have the capacity to also think about others. We can have narcissistic moments. We can have certain areas where we're more self-focused and self-absorbed, right? So that those are all aspects of it that it's like, oh, someone that likes to talk about themselves. Oh, he's an abuser. No, might be someone that's more self-absorbed, but they're still able to adjust themselves and see when they're in that space, or you call them on it and they realize it. Sure, there could be those things. I just see it that if you're in a relationship with someone who is personality disordered, you won't be able to understand their behavior. They will leave you confused and tied up in knots, and you feel like you're losing your sanity. That's it. And if a relationship makes you feel that way, it doesn't even matter what the label is. It's toxic, it's unhealthy, it's dysfunctional, and it's going to take you down with it. So the one thing that is perpetual in these relationships, that is always present, is that it does not get better with time. It gets worse with time. It doesn't stay the same. It gets worse and worse and worse. So when you're seeing this type of dynamic early on, like in that first, oh gosh, it could be in the first few months where things are happening, where you're starting to feel like, oh my God, like I'm losing it. Like what is going on? This is so confusing. Their behavior is erratic, they're inconsistent, they're lying, they're doing shady shit, they're twisting your mind, they're making you feel crazy, they're making you feel like shit. And you think, oh, well, maybe if we just get a commitment, or maybe if we get engaged or get married or live together or have kids, that will change everything, that will fix it. Maybe it's that next thing when he does this or that, or this stressor of life passes by, he'll stop being this crazy person. No. So that is one thing that is present in every truly personality disordered person. If you're in a relationship with someone like that, whatever we want to label it, it is not going to get better. If you are seeing very clear signs of that early on, don't start going into magical thinking that when some certain thing happens, that's going to get better. It will get worse. So if there's controlling behaviors, there's abusive behaviors, there's just a lot of messing with your mind going on, and you're left feeling, you have to pay attention to how you feel, right? How does how they are land for you? What is it doing to you? That's all you need to know. So if you feel anxious and on eggshells and worried and you're crying all the time and you're stressed out all the time about the relationship, they are flaky and erratic and non-committal and inconsistent, and they don't listen to you, and they call you too sensitive, and they don't care about how their behavior impacts you. Well, that's all you need to know. And you should know that within the first few months before you even decide to move forward with someone like this. Like, I think everybody can have faults. And I think everybody can have some narcissistic moments and maybe leaning towards certain behaviors around that. I think I do as well, for sure. But does that behavior equate in harming someone else? That's the key. Where does that come out? Does it come out in being abusive? Does it come out in being degrading to someone? Does it come out in not giving a shit how you make someone feel? Does it come out in having no empathy and no ability to feel with someone or to even see how someone is doing? Does it come out in lying and cheating and gaslighting and twisting reality and fucking with your head? No, hopefully not. So this is where the other thing that I see, wow, like just time and time again, I have to say this too, is that there are narcissists that project their narcissism onto you and start to say like, you're the problem, you're the narcissist, you're the one that needs help. And my counselor says this, or this person says this about you as well, that you are. And so they're projecting their toxic traits on to you, and then you are going, oh, is it me? So moral of this quickie episode is a reminder that it is not going to get better if you are seeing these behaviors. You also need to go to my episode, the top 10 definitive signs you're experiencing narcissistic abuse, to really dive deeper with me into like, you need to stop questioning this and realize that something really sinister is going on. Something really awful is happening, and you're not making it up. You're not imagining it. You're not going crazy, although you might feel like it. You're not being too sensitive. You're not misreading things. So I want you to go to that top 10 definitive list. I will mention it in the show notes what podcast number it is. And if you are experiencing that, I want you to stop making excuses and thinking it's going to get better. That getting him to see a counselor is going to transform this out of him. It will not. They don't change what they do. They don't change what they do for the next person either. The next person is going to be picking up their shit that they've left all over the place also. The next person is also going to be seeing the entitlement and the lack of consideration that you were dealing with. They're going to experience it too. They don't change. They might for a little while. They might tweak a couple of different things. But someone who has true disordered personality, they don't change the core of who they are. They're still going to be gaslighting and saying, oh, just joking, with that like insults, and being selfish and not really giving a rip about what they're doing and how they're making someone feel. They don't care. So that is not going to get better. Someone with those personality traits is not going to change no matter how long you try to do it. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 and 35 years. I've worked with women in marriages that long with these types. And you're seeing this get worse and worse and worse, but you're telling yourself, oh, if I could just like figure this out and crack the code and keep our family together, all will be well. It's not going to happen. And so as soon as you start to see that and you start shifting what you're doing, changing what you're doing, changing who you are, getting your head on straight, focusing on your own life, focusing on your own goals, you will see this so much more clearly. And as you do, you also will see them more clearly. They will really start to show you who they are when you start to change who you're being. And that gives you more fuel to realize you need to get the fuck out, because you see who they really are. When you start changing your part in the dance everything becomes clearer. So if you're questioning, maybe this isn't what this is, maybe it is me, that's the perfect time to go, okay, well, I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to stop trying to focus on changing what he's doing and not doing, and I'm going to put all that energy and time into focusing on me. That is where you get the clarity. And that is what my program and the cycle is all about. It's designed to help you get that final moment of clarity that, yes, this is what I'm experiencing and this is not going to get better. And therefore, here's what I need to do to get myself out of it. Even if it's months down the road or even years down the road, it can be. It's not about the timeline. It's about the journey and the intention that you define that this is what you're experiencing, and you get that definition and that clarity. And then the goal becomes, how do I get out of this? That's the goal. It should always be the goal. So if you're wanting to join the next cohort of End the Cycle, make sure that you hop into the show notes. There will be a link to get on the wait list. It hasn't been open for a time. I'm reconfiguring some things. I've also taken some time off of my business and have been focused on other areas of my life. It's been busy. So I haven't had it open actively for enrollment, but I will very soon. And you can get on the wait list to be the first to be notified via email when enrollment is open. And to take advantage of the early enrollment pricing that will be offered when I do open it. So check that out, sign up for it. The link again will be in the show notes, along with that episode mentioned, the top 10 definitive signs that you are experiencing narcissistic abuse is another one I'd like you to listen to if you have not already. All right, I hope you're doing well and you're taking care of you, and I'll chat with you again in the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Awakening Women podcast. If you love this show and it has served you and helped you on your journey, please take a moment right now and leave a rating and review in iTunes and Spotify. If you'd like more daily content, videos, and inspiration, come on over and join me at Awakening Women Support Official over on Instagram, where we can connect and you can continue your transformation and growth journey. And I'll see you online. Take care.
We made USAA Insurance to help you save. Take advantage of discounts when you cover your home and your ride. Discover how we're helping members save at USAA.com/bundle. USAA. Restrictions apply.